Good morning, students. Welcome back to the history class. So, today we are going to learn about Delhi Sultans, the Khalji dynasty. So, in this video, you are going to learn more about the Khalji dynasty and some of their rulers like Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji, Alauddin Khalji and his Mughal policy, administration of Alauddin Khalji, and economic reforms and its art and architecture. So today we will learn about some of these points. So let's start one by one. The Khalji dynasty. So Khaljis ruled over Delhi over 30 years from 1290 AD to 1320 AD. And originally the Khalijis belonged to Khalas. So Khalas is just a area that extending on both sides of river Helmond that is near in Afghanistan. So Khalid noble they occupied the throne of Delhi and laid the foundation of Khalid's dynasty. So what happened after Balban's death? There was continuous instability and court intrigues, clashes, all disputes are happening. So taking advantages of this situation, a Khalid noble occupied the throne of Delhi, and the rule of Khalid dynasty was strongly resented by people as it was believed that Khalid people were not Turks and belonged to a different race. For that reason. So next, Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji. He ruled for a short period of time, that is for 6 years, but he was a benevolent man. He provided refuge to a large number of Mongols who adopted Islam and settled outside Delhi. But however, he did not forgive any Mongol aggressor. He brought all the Rajput kingdoms under his sway, but did not undertake any large scale expansionist program. Even he forgave the rebellious nobles, rebellious those who are trying to against the ruler, rebellious, which led to lawlessness and revolts. But in 1296 AD, his nephew and son-in-law Alauddin Khalji ascended the throne. So now it points to the Alauddin Khalji and his conquest of Sultan as a Sultan of Khalji. So Alauddin Khalji was a nephew of Jalaluddin Khalji. He murdered him in 1296 AD and captured and seized the power. He won great victories against Malwa and Bisla town. So he trying to capture some of the great treasures, the great vast treasures places like Devgiri, Yadava capital in the south side and defeating Ramchandra Deva. So he's just trying to captured or acquire some of these territories. Those territories have some vast treasures. So thereafter he started conquest as a sultan. So first he followed an expansionist policy. Okay, so what is that expansion policy? That expansion policy is just nothing else, just trying to expand his territory. So his first expedition of territories that is expand between the Gujarat and Malwa in the area in the region of Gujarat and Malwa. Because of this flourishing trade of the region, so he successfully acquired these places. But in Gujarat, he bought one of his well-known slaves like Malik Kafur for 1,000 dinar. He bought one of slaves as a 1,000 of dinar, and for that reason, Malik Kafur is also known as Kafur Hazar Dinari. So Malik Kafur rose to the rank of a general in Alauddin's army in the latter period. And he also campaigned some of the places to conquer some of the place like in Rajasthan, Ranthambore, Chittor, but in the south side, the Malik Kafur, the slave, Malik Kafur, as a trusted general of Alauddin because he defeated the Yadavs, Kakatiyas, Hoysals, Pandyas. So because of the large army, Malik Kafur successfully defeated these rulers, and after that, therefore, he became a trusted general of Alauddin. But after the wars, he carried away a lot of booty like precious metals, elephants, horses, and some of the slaves, and that from whom? From the defeated kings, and trying to give their overlordship of Alauddin over their states. Now Alauddin's Khalij's Mongol policy. So besides following his expansionist plans, Alauddin undertook various effective measures to check the Mongol raids. Obviously, he has to give some effective steps to control the Mughal raids. For that reason, he reorganized his army and built numerous forts and trying to make various frontiers. And the northwest side, he's trying to effect the commanders for tackling the Mongols, just to prevent us to stop the Mongols. Iktas were granted as religious persons and the pensioners of the state. Because by the Turkish sultans, Iktas are granted as a religious persons and the pensioners, like the Rajput rulers prior to them. However, majority of the Iktadas were government officials who were granted lands instead of salary. So most of the Iktadas they are government officials, so they granted lands instead of salaries. So these officials were powerful during the Turkish rule, as the sultans depended on them for revenue collection and maintenance of the troops. And for that reason, the Iktas are not that time, in the Turkish time, they were more powerful. Administration of Alauddin Khalji. Alauddin was an able administrator. He kept the power of these nobles under strict control by confiscating all Ikta's land holdings. So Alauddin is just an able administrator. He know how to administrate his kingdom. For that reason, however, he successfully planned to keep all these landholders that the Iktadas have taken. So he again redistributed these lands among different categories of officials on the basis of the measurement of all land that are under cultivation and its fertility. So again he redistributed. So which he made a different measurement categories of officials according to the cultivation and fertility, and he made. So therefore he made it clear that the Sultan only owned the land and the Iqtadas had only right to collect revenue. And again he forbade the social gatherings among the nobles, and he trying to raise the revenue to half of the produce in the Doab region, that is between the Ganga and the Yamuna rivers. And he also given no extra tax on peasants, and peasants pay taxes directly to the Sultan. In order to tackle the problem of corruption, he introduced a system of getting the accounts of his officers audited. So Sher Shah Suri and Akbar later on followed this system. So in order to stop the problem of corruption, he introduced the system of auditing. If you have an account if you have account system, so there is no corruption. So after that, Sher Shah Suri and Akbar, they followed the same system. So thereafter, economic reforms of Alauddin Khalji. Alauddin introduced a market control policy. So what is market control policy? So Alauddin has a huge army, so he has to be maintained the huge army, and for that he has limited resources. So he decided to raise land revenue and made all essential goods sold in the market by cheaper. Okay, so that is the market control policy that he introduced. So special officers were also appointed for the corrupt shop owners just to check if there is any shop owners did any corruption, any corrupt, he has to those caught charging even a little extra money. He has to charge a severe punishment. So he established separate markets for different items like horses, cattle, slaves, grains, and imported goods like that. For that, where merchants sold the articles by entering into agreement with the state. So he established separate market for the separate items. So Hindus were deprived of acquiring any luxurious articles like gold, silver, tonkas, jitals, or even any superfluous commodity, and they could also not even eat betel. So, and for some of the causes that created a rebellion against the Alauddin Khalji. So, with the help of all the acquired taxes, Alauddin was able to maintain a huge army. So, he paid his soldiers in cash and branded his horses in order to avoid substitution of good horses with bad or inferior ones. Okay, so those have inferior, those are bad, those are good. So he branded some of these horses, and they are called, they are known as Dag. They are known as Dag. So thereafter, Chehra. So Chehra was kept, that an account or full description of every soldier. So Chehra was kept, an account of full description of every soldier. And the last point is art and architecture. So Alauddin was a great patron of art and architecture. Poets, scholars, so all educated peoples, they adorned his court. Like Amir Khusrau and Amir Hassan were the most prominent among them. Among all the scholars, they are both are the most prominent, means prominent, famous. He built Ali Darwaza near Qutub Minar, that is situated in Delhi. So he even challenged the authority of the ulema, that is the Islamic religious leaders, during his ruling time, during his reign. So after the death of Alauddin's, a war has broke out. So after Alauddin's death, war broke out. So his successors ruled over Delhi after the 4 years. But Malik Kafur, who had risen to become Alauddin's general during his reign, tried to become the Sultan. But he was killed. And thereafter, Alauddin's successor, Alauddin's followers, ruled over Delhi. And Khusro Malik Khan was the last Khalij ruler. He was defeated by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who cooled, sorry, he was defeated by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who killed him and founded the Tughlaq dynasty. The Tughlaq dynasty. And this way we have finished about all the Khalid dynasty and their rulers, how the administrator how he can manage all the administrator, his economic reforms, his art and architecture. So thanks students for being with me at the last of this video. I hope you enjoy this video and you read the book. If you have any doubt, any explanations, you can ask me and we will see you, we will meet you, we will discuss again more about the history about Delhi Sultan in the next video. Till then, see you, take care, bye bye.